Welcome to the session Green Technologies in IT Companies. Now, though the topic says Green Technologies in IT Companies, we are going to talk in general what is a green technology, particularly with respect to IT companies, because we are talking about technology for business management and how computers have been used in most of the business sectors. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss about the definition, importance of green technologies, key features of green technologies, energy efficient devices, artificial intelligence for energy management, green data centers, e-waste management and recycling, challenges in implementing green IT, and future trends in green information technology. Now, with the number of computers being used in industries and even in the residences, we see there is a sharp increase with the total number of computers being used across the world. It is said that on an average, a normal desktop which runs for 8 hours in a day might emit 175 kg of carbon dioxide per year. Now we need to understand what is the carbon footprint left when we are using so many computers for our business and even regular purpose. Internet and mobile are another set of things which are adding for more consumption of energy. Now, today we cannot imagine our life without using these devices. Now, to reduce the carbon footprint, we need to take certain measures. So, some of the measures which have been implemented by IT industries to save the energy is not sufficient. So, one needs to go on a full-fledged of green technologies in the coming days. So, let us try to understand more about what are these green technologies used in multiple companies which are dependent on computers. In general, green technology refers to the use of science and technology to reduce the human impact on the environment. Now, this might include multiple sectors like agriculture, energy, atmospheric science, hydrology, and material science. Now, what we are more concerned in today's session is about the green technologies which could be implemented wherever we are using computer devices. Green technologies can help reduce the environmental impact. Now, let us look into the formal definition of green technology. A green technology, also referred as green tech, is the use of science and innovation to create environmental friendly products and services. The goal is to reduce the negative impact of human activities on the environment and society. So, why is it so important? Here are some numbers which makes us worry about what is happening. As of 2024, there were about 245 million personal computers shipped worldwide. Now, in 2024, the United States had the most number of supercomputers with 173, followed by China with 63 and Germany with 40. Now, that's an astonishing number. When we compare the impact of normal desktops and laptops with so many number of supercomputers emitting, certain hazardous and harmful things on environment, we will definitely know what are the solutions available for this. Now, it is not so easy to come out with the solutions and simply implement them. Now, there is also another thing which makes us worry. When we look at which industry is using the more number of computers, surprisingly, the IT industry, which designs hardware, software, network and other resources, data resources is one of the biggest consumer of this energy. Now, the industry that uses the most computers is the technology sectors itself, as it encompasses the development, manufacturing and distribution of computer-related technologies, making it inherently reliant on computers for all its operations. Now, in the further set of discussion, we are going to focus more on what could be the green solutions in the IT industry. Let us understand the importance of green technologies. Now, one of the major requirements is to mitigate the climate change, to reduce the digital carbon footprints, to contribute to the broader business sustainability efforts. It can also help in saving the money and reduce the impact of greenhouse gas emissions. It also helps us in reducing the energy consumption, minimizing the e-waste, and above all, since there is more and more damage caused to the mother nature, we need to take care of certain climate actions. So most of the governments and nations are imposing it on IT companies. Now this becomes the most important norm or regulatory or a compliance policy to be followed by these companies. Now, when we look at why it is so important above the norms or anything like somebody is telling the organizations to follow, it is most important for each of us to understand where are we moving with the technological developments. If we assume what the world is going to look like with so many number of devices around us, at one point we will be seeing only these hardware software devices around us more than human beings. That might not be good for mother nature, or it is not also good for we humans. Now from that point it becomes each of us responsibility to ensure that the technology designed is consuming only the required amount of energy and use as much as it is required only. So with this, let us also try to understand what are the key features of green technologies. Now, most of the green technologies are designed based on renewable energy like solar, wind and other forms of energy sources. They use efficient cooling systems which helps in reducing the energy consumption, and they are designed with energy efficient devices like hardware, storage, any other devices which have been used by the computers. Another key feature is the reduced building footprint. It reduces the amount of space the data center takes up. Responsible computing, use responsible computing practices to reduce energy consumption. Reuse and recycle materials and equipments rather than creating the new and using more and more new devices. Now, how do we build these energy efficient devices? In first place, the energy efficient devices needs to be manufactured when they are integrated as components in the computer. Apart from computer, anything in the surroundings of computer which consumes the energy of computer also needs to be aligned. Now, this might include multiple devices like using energy efficient CPUs, servers, power systems, or any hardware components which are part of the computer. Now these devices should ensure that they are low power consumption devices. Now when we talk about the storage devices, we can also make use of SSDs or solid state drives which use less power than traditional hard drives, display low power modes and automatic brightness adjustments. Like some of these devices like visual display units, monitors or screens could be adjusted to ensure that they consume very less energy or low brightness, or it is like daylight adjustments based on the light available. The brightness could be adjusted by the system. Manufacture devices so that they could be recycled or biodegradable. So this could help on having a lower impact on the environment, and also use energy star rated low power consuming devices. Now when we talk about the networking devices, we could ensure that routers with power saving modes are used always, switches with energy efficient Ethernet capabilities are used. Now we are trying to understand all these components which are part of the computer. Now, wherever possible, we are trying to save energy either in terms of processing, storing, or something like energy consumption, even in terms of radiation from screens, all possible methods to save energy. So we need to follow eco-friendly products or methods to ensure that there is sufficient. We can design systems to optimize energy efficiency and also ensure reduction of this environmental impact. Now, with the help of AI, we can design systems where it could monitor and give instructions to these devices to set on auto mode systems where it could on and off or reduce the energy consumption based on the surroundings or situations. Some of the examples of use of artificial intelligence for energy management are like using of AI powered energy optimization with respect to IT operations or processes, use of smart cooling systems in data centers, predictive maintenance to improve energy efficiency, or it could be as simple as an artificial intelligence tool which is installed on the computer to monitor its activities. Now, the computer might understand it has been running for a long period and pop up a message saying that the computer needs to be like not used for the next few minutes and go on an auto shutdown mode without stopping any of the activities, but ensuring that all the devices would stay, without doing any process for some time, so that the energy consumption slows down or reduces at that given point of time. Now, when this is done on individual computers, imagine number of computers used in case of banks. Like in the beginning of our sessions, we were taking example of banking sector, or let us also take an example of something like aviation or anything as such like transportation departments where the computers need to be active 24/7. Now, in such situation, we need to have artificial intelligence systems which are designed with higher capacities to monitor this energy consumption. When we talk about IT companies, apart from these organizations, we also have the social media organizations or e-commerce organizations which are heavily dependent on the computer technologies and devices. Now, these companies also build huge data centers to store the data, to process the data, and to safeguard the data. Now, these companies should give a thought on building green data centers. While some of the companies have initiated this since 2010, most companies are yet to implement this, and there are many challenges to this. Now, let us try to understand what a green data center is. A green data center is a data center that's designed to be energy efficient and reduce its environmental impact. Green data centers use advanced technologies and strategies to store, manage, and share data. The primary goal is to use less electricity to perform the same function as compared to the standard device. Companies can design corporate sustainable strategies or can also adopt the green procurement process. Now, by doing this, they will ensure that right from the first stage of devices purchase, they will ensure that they are buying devices which are consuming low energy or energy efficient systems in the implementation. So, some of the corporate sustainability strategies in IT are like having sustainable IT procurement policies, having policies for carbon footprint reporting and compliance, green IT certifications like LEED, ISO 14001, Energy Star, following these practices. Now, we can take two examples like Facebook, which is using renewable power data center in Sweden. It ensures that it has an automated cooling system because the center is located around the zone where the system is designed in such a way the renewable energy is used to cool the internal systems. We can see this from the diagram represented here. Now, Facebook's renewable power data center in Sweden is located at the edge of Arctic Circle in Luleå, Sweden, and it is powered by locally generated hydroelectric energy which uses natural free cooling from the outside air rather than energy intensive air conditioning units. The very basic design system allows Facebook to operate highly efficient data center with a significantly lower environmental impact. One of the major reasons for this is the location advantage. So, it is always advised when companies, especially the data centers, when they are getting located, to ensure that they choose places like this. Now, Facebook also has a location advantage, like Luleå offers a combination of low electricity costs and reliable power grid infrastructure. Now, another example is from Microsoft. The Microsoft's Project Natick is an underwater data center which uses raw sea water to cool its rack. Now, this significantly reduces energy consumption by leveraging the naturally cool ocean temperatures. Now, this also is a very good example for green data center. Now, most of the companies try to locate themselves far from the urban locations, near the coastal area or water bed sources or near the green sources, to ensure that the energy consumption is matching or is helpful to be reduced. Now, apart from these practices, the organizations which are dependent on these IT devices might also think of the waste which gets generated once these devices are discarded. Now, there's where we need to think about the e-waste management or recycling. Reduce, recycle and reuse is the policy followed by most companies to ensure that they are not wasting much on the resources. While in most of the examples what we look forward now, we see that how recycling concept has been useful in having lower impact on the environment. Organizations can also have IT asset disposal policies to ensure that recycling, refurbishing and repurposing is maintained. Now, since we are discussing more about green technologies, let us try to understand what exactly is contributing to the e-waste. Now, when we look at the e-waste definition, a e-waste is an electronic waste which includes discarded electrical or electronic devices like computers, smartphones and home appliances. Companies and governments worldwide are adopting innovative strategies to manage and recycle e-waste responsibly. Now let us take example across the world how exactly countries are making effort or some companies are making effort to have less impact on the environment. Now in India we have e-waste rules which is extended to the producer as a responsibility. Now these e-waste management rules were laid down in 2022 as a mandate for electronic manufacturers to collect and recycle a percentage of products after the use. The reason is most of these companies are manufacturing these devices, so they should also be knowing how to recycle it or reduce the impact on environment. One is they can collect it and try to discard it in a more meaningful way which has less impact on environment, or recycle or reuse the parts which could still be used. Companies like Samsung and Lenovo have e-waste take-back programs. Now the impact what we can achieve out of this is it will promote formal e-waste recycling centers and reduce informal dumping. Now in Japan, during the Olympic, whatever medals were given were recycled out of their e-waste. The Japan's Tokyo 2020 Olympic medals were designed out of the discarded smartphones, laptops and digital cameras from citizens. The Japanese government collected this and designed the medals. Now they extracted gold, silver, bronze to manufacture around 5,000 Olympic medals. Now the impact is just by having a meaningful medal designing, they also exhibited how consciously they are contributing to the environment. Probably this is one of the best examples to understand how we could recycle the resources for the best possible use. Now when we talk about Europe, it has a particular fair policy with respect to right to repair laws. Now what it does is, it has introduced a law requiring manufacturers to provide repairable designs and spare parts for electronic devices. Now this encourages longer product life cycles and reduces unnecessary e-waste. Now this greatly contributes in minimizing the e-waste rather than simply going and buying the new one. So it is always better to renew rather than replace it with a new device or a component or a particular equipment. Now when we see countries practicing or imposing law for protecting the environment, we also see some of the companies consciously initiating measures to reduce the impact on the environment. HP initiated the recycling of cartridge program, like HP's ink cartridge recycling across globe. Planet Partners program initiated in recycling ink and toner cartridge using closed loop recycling. Recovered plastic is used in new ink cartridges. Now they collected around 1 billion ink cartridges. Now that's a very big number. Now this not only helped in recycling and reusing, that also reduced the impact of that 1 billion cartridges which could have simply gone waste on the earth. Now Dell also has a closed loop recycling program across global. It collects the old laptops and recycles plastic parts to manufacture new Dell computers. Uses ocean-bound plastic in packaging materials. Now, the impact of this was over 2 billion pounds of e-waste was recycled since 2007. Fairphone from Netherlands is also termed as a sustainable smartphone company. Fairphone designs modular smartphones that allow users to repair and upgrade parts instead of replacing the entire device. It uses ethically sourced recycled materials in phone production. The impact is it extends device lifespan, reducing e-waste generation. Now we also have one of the best examples from Apple. Apple developed Daisy, a disassembly robot which could take up to 200 iPhones per hour and recover valuable materials like cobalt, lithium and gold. The recovered materials are used in new Apple products, reducing the need for mining. The impact is supporting Apple's goal of using 100% recycled materials on their future devices. Now, while doing this, Apple also ensures that production quality and standards are met. So, we need to understand just because a company is using a recycled or refurbished component in the whole product, it doesn't mean that the product loses its usage value. When companies are installing or integrating that component like recycled or refurbished component, they also ensure to do justice by offering the product at a lower cost and also ensuring the product has sufficient usage efficiency. Now by doing this, they ensure they're maintaining justice and fairness towards their product policies. Now it is not as easy as we have been talking about green technologies implementations. There are multiple challenges in implementing green technologies. The first and foremost being the high cost. The high initial cost of green technology makes it difficult to adopt by most companies. While there are companies who will only try to follow those policies which are really required to be followed by them as a norm by the government or as a regulatory policy by the government. Otherwise, rest of the things, if it is not compulsory, they might still compromise because of the high cost. Whatever solution is designed for today and it needs to be upgraded as and when new systems come in place. So scalability is another challenge. With globalization, companies are operating from one country to another country. The borderless business makes it quite challenging for these companies to ensure they are maintaining the law of the home countries or host countries. Since the global standards vary from one place to another place, that is one of the greatest challenge for companies to adapt to all these policies across the globe. Now, what could be the future trends in green technologies in the coming years? We've been discussing quantum computing, cloud computing, multiple other AI implementations, blockchain, IoT, and whatnot. Now, in such a situation, it is very difficult for us to assume what is going to happen in 2030 or 2050. Technological developments are happening at a great speed. Carbon aware computing and AI driven sustainability is something we can assume which is on its way. Quantum computing's potential for lower energy use, advancements in biodegradable electronics. So, organizations are striving to build sustainable data centers with cloud solutions as game changers. Companies must prioritize their IT policies, including the green concepts. This would be good for everybody, including the companies. Government should encourage the industry-wide adoption of green technologies, and organizations should show the real commitment towards implementing the green technologies in full-fledged. With this, we can conclude that green technologies are most important and needs to be incorporated at individual and organizational devices. Now, it is also responsibility of government as well as individuals in ensuring that they are using devices which follow the green technology criteria. So, with this, let us take a look of today's session highlights. We started discussing with definition, and then we discussed the importance of green technologies, key features of green technologies, energy efficient devices, artificial intelligence for energy management, green data centers, e-waste management and recycling. We took multiple examples over there, challenges in implementing green IT, future trends in green IT. Some of the interesting facts, references used in this session. Thank you.